an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kora and George Mavros from Sydney.
So welcome to another exciting episode of the Ultimate Global Podcast. It's a special series of episodes on personal growth and networking. And I think this theme perfectly fits the speaker for today because I've been completely inspired and encouraged by the energy that Kaley possesses as a networking person. She came here to Australia as an immigrant, and the way she has built a wonderful and a large network in Sydney and Australia in general, I think it's phenomenal. And a lot of people who are staying within their own countries generally are not able to build that kind of a network. So I'm here to talk about an interesting concept, which I kind of came to know when I met Kaley a few months ago of 100 lunches with 100 strangers. So she was on this mission to have 100 lunches with 100 strangers so that she can network with strangers in a new country and kind of, build relationships with people so that she can make new friends and socialize with people. And now she has grown this idea to the next level. So Kaley, welcome to this podcast. I would like to tell you, I would like to give you the floor to tell our audience a bit more about, how you came up with this idea and what is this whole concept of 100 lunches with 100 strangers?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. 100 Lunches is like a movement that helps people to connect on a deeper, meaningful level, and also just to connect people together because you never know when your next life-changing connection is going to be made, and one connection can change your life. And how I started the journey, like you mentioned before, immigrants, lacking confidence, and I just want to find a way to get out of my comfort zone, and that was the idea that I had. And from there, the personal challenge turned into a book, turned into a TEDx speech, turned into a movement now. And now we're doing lots of events, like how I met you, I think last month now in Sydney, and we're also doing events in Melbourne and online virtual events. And the goal is very simple, just to connect and grow together.
Yep, absolutely phenomenal. Now, you touched based upon a very important thing, Kaley. You said coming out of your comfort zone. A lot of the international people, or if people are coming from one country to another country, it's not so easy for them to socialize with people from other cultures. And I think that's something which I keep on stressing a lot in my life, that you should always try to experience other cultures so that you kind of experience something new when you are in a new country. So when you say comfort zone, what do you mean by coming out of your comfort zone in terms of networking and meeting new people?
I think, like you touch on, as an immigrants, international students at that time, it's very easy to fall to that trap of just hang out with people that's almost identical to you, same country, same language. And I don't see any major problem with that. I mean, that's comfortable and we feel good with each other and we make friends and life was okay then. But what I realized is that if you get out of your comfort zone and, go out to meet people from different culture, different background, different industry, different age group, etc., you really gain new perspective in life. Life definitely become better that way. And we grow much, much faster. And when you mentioned about getting out of your comfort zone, I don't know, because at the beginning when I first started the journey, it was uncomfortable for me. In fact, it's more than uncomfortable. It was scary for me. But just like most things in life, when you first started doing, you get scared, it's uncomfortable. But if you're doing it again and again and again, then you get more comfortable doing that. And now I found it enjoyable. And that's something that I love doing every day.
Absolutely. And we might touch base upon the strangers that you have met for lunches. So would you like to tell a bit more about, the backgrounds that those strangers came from, the countries, the nationalities, the backgrounds, and anything new that you learned out of those experiences? Were there any good and bad experiences that you had while you met those strangers?
Oh, wow. There are so many questions there. I believe that's a good saying that we are who we are 5 years from now, except for the books that we read and the people that we meet. So From there, I I can't even tell you who are those people, because now I had maybe 400 lunches with strangers now, one-on-one lunch with, food in front of us, face-to-face lunches, and they are all variety of different background. From the youngest that I had, I think will be students, maybe 18, 19-year-old. The oldest, I think maybe 87, 88, definitely retired. I don't know how old they are, but I didn't ask. But, a wide range of age group. Nationality wise, it's just variety, really, from all sort of different backgrounds. So, yeah, very interesting journey. And from there, my whole life changed. My career changed, my perspective, my mindset changed, and everything changed. So I can't even tell you what are the benefits, because it's just so many.
So I meant to say that when you were meeting those people, were you able to take some lessons out of that in your own life? Maybe you met an individual and you said, "Oh, wow, that was unique. I think I can do this in my life as well." So, were there any good experiences that you also learned from some other people on your way to having lunches?
I think everyone's got their own story. So it really depends on who I had lunch with. Like, for example, I met, a cancer survivor, and then he shared his story with me and showed me, how really life can change in a second, and how we need to be grateful with life and appreciate life even more. And I've had lunch with people from different professions. So I think last week I shared a little bit about how I had lunch with an anesthetist, and he's like one of the most dangerous profession ever, I believe. It's like our third lunch already, and it's just so interesting to hear what he can do, and the insider information from his industry. And tomorrow I'm gonna have lunch with the first time with a radio announcer with Luke, and I don't know, just hearing from people's different story and learning from them. And yeah, so many life lessons. And from there, my best friend now is from lunches. My mentor is from lunches. Another mentor is through, again, lunch invitation, and business partners through lunches. And they also invite me to other investors and people. I don't know, just so many benefits.
And when did you decide that this kind of initiative can also be taken uh, to the business level, and you can have a business idea out of it, where maybe you can start organizing some events? You can potentially convert this as a good business idea. So is that something which is on the cards, or you think that has already been taken care of?
Yeah, I think things just evolve over time. It was definitely not the plan when I first started, but after I share my story and publish the book, then more people doing the lunch with strangers, then I realized that this is not a standalone success story. Anyone who actually took the leap of faith and do it and have lunch with strangers, grow their network, they actually have very similar results. The network expanded, they have a lot more opportunities in life, and they're doing things that they never thought was possible. And from there I thought, okay, why don't we encourage more people to do so? So that's how we, because a lot of people go like, where am I going to find the strangers for lunch? And it's not an easy journey. So that's why we start to host events and help people to grow and connect together.
Uh, any advice, Kaylee, that you might give to international students, or international people who are coming to Australia in general? In specific, I would like to ask for Australia, because I'm sure that we have got a lot of listeners from Australia. But people going from one country to another country, any advice that you will give them to, uh, you know, not to stay within their own community, or probably network more with other people? Do you have any tips for them?
Um, Really stay open for opportunities, because opportunities don't just come and knock on your door. We really need to be proactive. Um, I think there's research saying that 80% of the jobs in the markets are not on, advertisement. It's purely from networking and word of mouth. So if you're looking for jobs, definitely, if you're looking for opportunities, definitely keep meeting people. But more importantly, I think the biggest benefits for me was getting inspirations from people and learning from other people. That's helped my personal growth so much that I feel like I'm a different person now. So just keep meeting people, and networking is not something that if we do it today, we can get the benefit tomorrow. Yes, sometimes it's like that when we're lucky, then we meet someone and then they gave us, I don't know, a connection or a job or I don't know, something. But most of the time it takes time to nurture. So it takes, many months or even years to build a network, and you see exponential results from that. So start early, start young, and you will definitely thank yourself for doing that. I think the ROI is massive for starting early.
Absolutely, and I also believe that you should not go to any event, or you should not go to any particular initiative just to get a value out of it. What I've found from my personal experiences in Australia is I've just gone everywhere. I've thrown myself out everywhere without having any filters, without having any expectations, but I've got 100 times in return. And I think that is really, really, really good when you don't apply filters, and you don't try to have certain expectations from people. So just go out there and express yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. So networking is all about giving and helping each other and making meaningful connections. That's why I said start early and start young, so that you can meet someone and make some real friends before you need them, or they can help you, or you can help them in any way, so that it's a lot more genuine, authentic connections from
Yes.
there. And like you mentioned, no expectation, just go in there and see what happens. They are the best connections.
Yeah, of course. And I think one of the questions people might want to know that you seem to be a very inspirational person with the kind of things that you're doing in terms of your 100 lunches. Are there any other things other than outside of this that you are doing to uh, focus on your personal growth and development?
Oh, absolutely. I spent a lot of time to grow and learn from other people. Now, 5 years, 4.5 years into the journey, I still spend a lot of time to learn and grow and read and attending seminars and and learning from other people. So yes, absolutely. And so what I'm doing now, other than growing the brand, which I'm speaking a lot, so going on stages, become a keynote speaker, motivational speaker, and inspire other people to connect. That's one. And coaching, I help people to connect and grow and build a personal brand so that they can become the best version of themselves and spread the message. That's something I'm passionate about as well. And also, like you mentioned, hosting events to connect people together. That's something I love doing, and I find so fulfilling seeing the magic happens when you connect the people together.
Yep. And by the way, I think hosting events is always very difficult. I consider that you need a lot of confidence to make sure that you can host an event. I've recently started organizing my meetups in Sydney, which are face to face. It takes a lot of efforts, in terms of organizing the things, bringing people together, making sure that everything is going right, making sure that you are on time all the time. So there are so many things that you have to consider. So any things that you have learned in terms of organizing events, I'm sure that a lot of people out there are either event organizers, and I'm sure with your little bit of experience you have gained in this kind of skill, you might have learned something new as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think since I started the journey, I hosted at least 200 events for the last few years, both in person and virtual. I think the more you do, the better you become, just like anything in life, really. If you do it more often, then you kind of have a process in place and you know what to do, what not to miss, and follow the process to get to the events. Tips that I can give, I think this is, like you mentioned, this is really hard work. Like I remember the first time I hosted 100 lunches event in Melbourne, I didn't eat for 22 hours in a row. And when I started eating at dinner, I'm like, I'm starving, because during the whole event, I was just looking after my guests, make sure everything went well, and doing, photos and talking to them and engaging with all my guests. And then after that, we had, such a fun day and, chatting after. So Yeah, there are lots of things to look after, but again, this is one of the most fulfilling thing that I can do that I really, really enjoy. So just like most things in life, it's not easy, but the why or the motivation kept us going so that we can keep doing what we do. Do I have any tips you can share? I don't know. Sorry.
I think one of the questions that I definitely wanted to ask you is on your card games. So Kaley has invented her card games, which are meant to have deep conversations with people. And I have tried that 2 times in my meetup groups. It has worked pretty well. I have met 6 strangers randomly, and then we played the card games and we came to know some new facts about each other. Last week, I also organized this game with my Australian team here in Sydney when we were all meeting together for the first time. And everyone enjoyed the game. Everyone had wonderful conversations, and they thanked me for organizing that game because, I was given the initiative to organize an icebreaker. So I thought, why not take Kaley's idea into it? So would you like to tell a bit more about those cards and how did you come up with that?
Ta-da! I love these cards. These are playing cards, just like poker cards. And in each card, you have like 2 questions, 2 deep questions, and 1 would you rather question. So 3 questions in each card. So 52 cards, there are 156 questions in total. And I love them because a lot of people ask me, what do you talk to strangers about? And what I hate is small talks that are meaningless, How's the weather today? What's happening in the weekend? How do you feel about, I don't know. There are lots of like superficial topics that's, I believe, can be gone and go straight to the deep conversation, because it's a deep conversation, the conversation that we don't usually talk about or share with people, that can connect us together much better. And some people, they'll be like, I don't know what question to ask. I don't know how to go from, those small talks into a deep conversation. That's how I come up with this idea of having these deep conversation cards. So it's not too awkward. It's easy to carry. We can take these everywhere. And we just start playing cards and ask people these questions to have much better connections.
Beautiful. And I think people might want to know, when is your next event and what are you offering other than the cards in the next event? Is it in Sydney or Melbourne?
I don't know yet, but stay tuned. Please send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. It will be either Melbourne or Sydney, but definitely in 2023, we will host more events. It's just because there's so much happening at the moment. So we don't have the solid dates planned, but we will do more events in Melbourne and Sydney and make it more fun and, meaningful for everybody to join.
And Kaley will also be offering, some new merchandise from 100 Lunches with 100 Strangers. She's just come up with the cards and maybe some clothes and different kind of merchandise that she's going to come up with. So just get excited for all those things. But thank you so much, Kaley. I really love this discussion, and I'm sure that people will enjoy this particular episode when it is out. And I hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as I did.
Yeah, of course I did. Thank you. It was nice talking to you, and let's catch up for lunch.
Thank you so much, Kaley. Have a lovely day.
You too. Bye.
This is an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kaura and George Mavros from Sydney.